hear is about each of you, right? What has been your journey? And let's start with the ladies. Suja, you might want to start about, a brief introduction, probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I know it's very difficult to explain that journey, but whatever you can in that 2 to 3 minutes, please.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. And, as is expected of an Anup Ambiga session, we don't follow the rules. I think we bend it a little bit and become very creative. But I think, it's important to kind of set the, creative thoughts flowing. So I'm from Kerala, originally from Kerala, but most of my career has been outside of Kerala, in fact, outside of India. I started my, work life in North America. So, I kind of started in consulting and IT, although I was not trained in IT as an engineer. I ended up managing IT professionals and also advising them on outsourcing when outsourcing was at the peak. It has been a very interesting journey because one of the biggest things I moved back to India around 10 years ago. And, initially when I was moving, and I moved with a management consulting firm called KPMG, and initially when I was moving, I had these reservations around, how is it going to be? I'm used to a certain kind of work life and the kind of, interesting projects and things that are happening in a very well-developed market. But 10 years down the road, I think I have a very different opinion about India and Kerala. In fact, I now am the person who has been converted and who speak about the immense possibilities and the immense potential of our talent here. So I think I've been very grateful for the many opportunities, but I have been primarily in management consulting, led multiple million-dollar deals to manage those kind of deals with across sectors, and then had a little bit of a stint in government or quasi-government because worked in a organization called Invest India. I was one of the founding members of that organization where it was all about bringing in investment into the country and ensuring that it was, we are able to ground it. I was also part of the first ease of doing business ranking framework, working with the World Bank and DPIT, so that was very interesting. And I'm very happy that this year, the last year, after great efforts by this state, Kerala has been ranked as the top achiever. So that is pretty amazing journey. And then, over the last couple of years, around maybe just under 10 years, I moved from, consulting into industry. I was leading Nissan Digital Hub, which was the global innovation hub for Nissan Motor Corporation. We set it up in Trivandrum. We had around 500 plus great talent coming in from across India and also from Kerala. Like 40 to 50% were from Kerala and the rest from outside. And we had also another 500 or so vendor partners working with us. So that was fantastic working with really brilliant professionals creating and developing softwares to make our great new cars that Nissan was rolling into the market, including a Leaf and some of the newer models that you're very familiar with. And then, of course, I switched sides, and I'm now part of a Canadian organization, and we are owned by a private equity firm called Nordic Capital, who has invested in multiple companies in India. We have around 35 portfolio companies here. And what we do is we help banks modernize and transform. So we have a product and pricing platform, SaaS-based, and so it's interesting what Anish was saying. And we are living in interesting times, and we are rapidly embedding AI into not just our products and platform, but also in everything that we do, from operations, daily operations, to learning, to HR and all the other parts of the organization as well. So we are living in very interesting times, and I think, and that company is, by the way, called Zafin, and we have around 400 plus employees in India. So it's been a great journey.
Thank you, Suja. Thank you, and that is quite a tenure that you had as part of your career. One of the reasons why I wanted each of you to listen very carefully to them is probably I'm going to come back right after these introductions with question about what is it that you want to learn out of this panel. So just have a question in your mind about what is it that you would like to hear about, or what is it that you would like to learn about from this panel. With that, I'll go to John. John, I'm sorry. Nimisha, I'll come back after John. Ladies first and second. John, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, give us a little bit of a brief about your career. Now you're the Trade Commissioner, and right?
That's right. Thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Namaskar. My name is John Southwell. I'm the Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner for the Australian Trade and Investment Commission, which is Australia's trade promotion and investment attraction body. It's in some ways a little bit like Invest India, but also with goods exports and services exports attached to it. So my career actually has come in from a very, very interesting way, because you can connect the dots going backwards, but not necessarily going forwards. So when I was just about to finish high school, I'd actually gone ahead in relation to information communications and technology. But then I went to study law, and then went on to a number of public policy roles within the Australian Public Service, and then found myself here in India as a Trade Commissioner, and also doing a stint up in Delhi at the Australian High Commission, looking after food and beverage. And then in this role now, I now look after advanced manufacturing, IT, food, education, and also critical and enabling tech. So that's been quite an interesting journey. I won't bore you with all of the ins and outs for all of that, but I think it's been something which has been quite interesting, being a foreigner living in this place for the best part of 7 years, seeing how much India has risen during that period of time, despite the ravages of COVID, as well as how Australia has actually contributed to that. And is continuing that the fact that we have 5 years of our comprehensive strategic partnership between Australia and India was actually signed virtually during 2020, during all of the lockdowns between the Honourable Prime Minister Modi and the then Prime Minister of Australia. And one of the pillars of that comprehensive strategic partnership was on tech, on cyber policy. And so I think that sometimes, as you say, sometimes you might not necessarily start out in your career thinking that you're going to be doing something that you're doing right now, and in fact, far from it. The irony is that if I'd actually followed my high school, I probably would actually be in IT already. But it's something also that I'd like to just reflect as well on the title of this panel session, Startups and Innovation. Is that I think we always need to be very mindful that sometimes startups and innovation doesn't actually really always have to involve these things. It's also about being entrepreneurial in your mind. It's actually being innovative in your mind. And actually sometimes a disruptor doesn't actually involve a single transistor. And so I think with that, the amount of innovation and also supporting of startups between Australia and India has grown significantly. The sky is the absolute limit. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today.
Thank you. I think we'll come back to you about questions in terms of technology transfer, in terms of university incubators, etc. But thank you very much. Nimisha, Sam has really made me feel guilty about not giving you the second chance. So why don't you go ahead and let's give a big round of applause to Nimisha, because she's probably the youngest of the lot, and a company that they built, husband and wife together, and got acquired in 2000?
Last year, 2023.
23. So Nimisha, just give a little bit of a brief about what you did and your journey.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here in the panel with all these prominent panelists. And maybe, Anup sir, you might be knowing that if you give a storytelling chance to a startup, it will be a never-ending story always, because we are very professional in storytelling. So, my company is Ace Money, which is a fintech company based out of Cochin. We started Ace Money in 2020, which was during the peak pandemic time, where everybody was locked down at their home. And we started with a service called Doorstep Banking Service. The initial product was ATM to home. Like Swiggy or Zomato deliver food at your doorstep, we started with a service which delivers cash at your doorstep. So during the pandemic time, it was like nobody was able to go out. Even the ATM counters were the least sanitized places where everybody will keep away from. So what we did was we developed an application and we made people to book for cash withdrawals through the application. And if a request comes to us, our executive goes to the doorstep of the customer and deliver money at their doorstep. So that was where we started in 2020. Initially, what we did was we hired our own employees in municipalities and corporations here. But later, as after the pandemic, actually, we understood that the need of this doorstep banking services is not majorly in urban areas, but it will do more good in rural areas where if you see that if we go to a rural place, the banks will be almost 5 to 10 kilometers away from their home. And if they want to do a banking service, say for example, they want to transfer some money to somebody, it is a half-day job for them. They have to go to the bank, fill the forms, and it is almost taking away their half-day. So that is where we went with Ace Money, and we identified local micro entrepreneurs who can actually help us with what we want to deliver to the localities. We identified local entrepreneurs like maybe kirana shops or supermarkets and enabled them to give these financial services using our platforms where either customers can walk into this kirana shop and do a transaction. You might have seen like in kirana shops there will be a board written ATM available here where there is no big ATM machines. It is actually micro ATM machine working there. So and also if the people need, this kirana shop owner itself will deliver the services at the doorstep of the customer. So that is basically what we do. We majorly focus on tier 3+ cities, core rural areas all over India. And yes, recently in 2023, we got acquired by a Chennai-based cash management company, Radiant Cash Management Services. They are basically into cash management and we are into digital space, and we saw that a strategic partnership between both will do well in the working in the hinterlands of India.
Thank you, Nimisha. So Anish, I'm going to skip you since there was enough introduction about you and you got a chance to speak. Now I come to Babu. Babu has been a serial entrepreneur, investor. He has been my investor in the company that I created. Quite a lot of history between both of us. Babu, why don't you just give a little bit of a brief about yourself and your journey?
Thank you, Anu. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Typically what that means is you fail many times, so you could never, you fail once, you try again. I personally had 17 failures, so a lot of times I talk to startups and, they haven't failed many times, so I probably set the record for that. But along the journey, figured out a way to build a couple of companies. Stamps.com, built it in the garage and became lucky. Actually, the company became a public company and then decided to try my luck in financial services and started a wealth management company. And, I had no background in wealth management, but found an opportunity and, decided to pursue that. And 20 years later, I retired from there, was a public company again. And I'm an engineer at heart, in a family of engineers, so my wife is an engineer. Both my kids are engineers as well, right? So love building stuff. That's all that gives you that real pleasure, right? The satisfaction of seeing something come to life. And that's what it's all about. By the way, how many engineers in the room? Not as much as I expected. So if you're an entrepreneur, right, all you do is, create stuff out of thin air. Like, you struggle early on, like, you try to create stuff that costs very little, right, and then continue to work on it, iterate on it. Somewhere along the way, you figure out your way, like, so, and there is so much to do in that process. I've been fortunate to go through that journey. So, two things: engineer, entrepreneur. Once an engineer, always an engineer. Once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur.
I agree. Thank you, Babu. Babu is being very modest here. I can tell you a story about how I just gave him a PowerPoint presentation and he wrote me a check of 2 crores to build LLMs. So that's the kind of investments that he's talking about. He always works on his gut, I believe. We'll talk a little bit about that also during the course of the time. But I want to introduce, so basically, we usually think that once a computer engineer, always a computer engineer, right? You have not seen many people who have been a computer engineer and then become a genomics expert. And that is a man who is sitting right next to me. That is Sam Santosh. In the first half of his career, I think he was more leaning towards writing software. And then he learned that genetics is the software of life. And then he started to learn genomics and genetics and built several companies around that. Sam, we are very eager to hear your story.
Thanks, Anu. It's always a pleasure sharing a stage with you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to come here and talk to you. The thanks to the organizers. Anu has already said so many good things, so I don't think I should add much about too much in the past. I'll just talk a little bit about the genomics journey, which is the last 15 years. I started a lab here in Kochi called SciGenome. The lab is still there in the Kakinada Special Economic Zone. And I started a DNA sequencing and bioinformatics facility. It's sort of the first one in India. But I saw it as an incubator. So I incubated over the next 12 years, I incubated 4 companies in that. The most well-known among them is MedGenome. MedGenome, AgriGenome, Saxon Life Sciences, and a company called MagGenome. So though I can't claim to join the Anish Club of a unicorn, all the 4 companies together got a valuation of over $1 billion. So I can say I'm sort of 1/4 as successful as Anish. The last 2-3 years back, I stepped off from all the companies. I got into the third innings. The software was the first, genomics was the second, and as a third innings, I am more trying to help other companies. So I still have the SciGenome lab. I'm incubating a company from the US who are creating new antibodies, engineered antibodies, for both the Indian pharma as well as global pharma. And I'm also helping our AI software company. So those are 2 business activities that I have. But my personal passion in the last couple of years or 3 years has been more to setting up the Kerala Genome Data Center. That is for the Kerala government. I'm leading that initiative of trying to get the value of Kerala's fantastic biodiversity, which is captured in the genomics of Kerala, flora, fauna, and humans, and the microbes. So we are trying to extract this data and put it up into a powerful data center with an AI front end and a high performance cluster as a back end, and which will enable many entrepreneurs like you as well as researchers to access data, create new algorithms, and create solutions which can be of great value to fields like synthetic biology, gene editing, even traditional healthcare, where the genomic information can be of a lot of use. And the other project that I'm doing is more a personal passion. I'm setting up a garden through the trust that we have called the SciGenome Research Foundation. I'm setting up a garden for botanical plants, mostly medicinal plants, but focusing on the plants covered in the old 17th century book called Hortus Malabaricus. Some of you might have heard of it who have been science students, but otherwise people might be surprised at that. It's a Dutch name. Hortus Malabaricus is a Latin name created by the Dutch. when they were ruling here for about 100 years. It means Garden of Malabar. So they were fascinated with the plants available in Kerala, and so they made this 12-volume book in Latin. A few years back, it was translated by Professor Manilal into English and Malayalam. 6,000 pages into English and Malayalam must have been a Herculean effort for him, but that enabled people like us to access that. So I thought we needed to have a garden for that. So the Hortus Malabaricus garden has been a 10-year effort, which just got inaugurated last month. So but still a lot of work there. So I'm trying to continue to build that up as a living biobank. So in addition to the genomic data that will be available, the plants also would be available, living, where people can come and access samples and do research and all that. So it's a non-profit initiative, so I welcome all of you who would be interested to learn more about plants or take up any of these plants and do research, or even just to propagate them. We are happy to give out saplings. Many of them are endangered, many of them are very difficult to get now. So it is all of, I think, our duty to make sure that our wealth, the Kerala's wealth, is not lost. So we can all jointly, plant these trees and other plants across the state. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to take questions.
Yeah, we wouldn't take questions like that, but I would like to hear from the audience, and I'm hoping that there is somebody with a mic walking around. What is it that you would like to learn? You have an idea about what these people are, right? What have they done with their life? Is there anything that you would like to learn from them? Is there any questions that you would like to specifically ask? Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. You can speak, yeah.
Today's topic is of innovation is one of the topic, vital topic. Vital topic is innovation. So innovation can happen only if there is a spectrum of hardware involvement. And India is focusing on a futuristic proposition, the hardware area. Policy has been regulated, cross-border regulations has happened. Now we are focusing on digital economy. The world is moving on knowledge economy and knowledge industry. I'm afraid to say only from Trade Commission from Australia is portfolio on defense. I heard something like that. So this hardware involvement, what policies, regulations, startup Kerala has?
Sir, can you also introduce yourself since you asked a question?
I am founding principal of PRI in India, representing European Union.
Founding principle of?
Printed intelligence.
Britain intelligence, yes.
It's a $1 trillion economy.
$1 billion economy.
$1 trillion economy.
$1 trillion economy.
You are using now in your mobile printed intelligence.
Okay.
Your display is a printed intelligence.
Right.
Electrode of your battery is a printed intelligence.
Right.
Anode of your battery is a printed intelligence. So what I mean to say, India is focusing on...
No, the question is very clear.
Coming to the question only.
Yeah.
So innovation, when you use the word innovation in a bold way, innovation can happen if there is a complementing component of hardware. All of the experts are from software side.
Right.
She's from Nissan Digital Economy.
Nimisha used to have a...
I'm not completing my question, sir.
Nimisha used to have a hardware. Just wanted to let you know.
Sir, we have advanced much in hardware. Defense is importing billions of hardware in sensors alone, which is PI. Health sector, PI.
No, but what is the question? What is the question?
Question is that what is the innovation focus Kerala under startup has in the hardware sector?
Right. We'll come to that.
We want to involve. We are creating an SP with KSADC. Now I would request as chief of startup to collaborate in that system, where government of India is very serious. The 2-3 ministers were speaking on the energy
we'll come
sector.
to that. We'll come to that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes, please. We have one. We'll take questions. Yes.
Sir, my name is Yasin.
Can you be a little louder? I think there is something wrong with the sound system, but be a little louder, please.
Is it okay now?
I can't hear it.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir, my name is Yasin. I'm running a small food tech startup in Malappuram that we are processing fresh fruits, and we are making it into a fresh juice concentrate that which can dilute into a fresh juice with all goodness of fruits, like nutrients, minerals, and aroma. Even freshness we are locking. And now we are processing more than 20,000 kilo per day, and we are doing a business of 25 crore per annum. My question is this, sir, to especially, sir is from Perindalmanna, I am also from Malappuram. For us, this is all simply a mystery, like venture capitalists, angel funding. They're all still a mystery to us. Like, from your experience, where do we find them? Like, what is it like to get an investment from these kinds of institutions? So we don't have any idea like that. So it's better if you can, from your experience.
So you were asking Anish
Yes, sir,
how
yes.
you could get investment around a food-related technology that you have developed or a food-related product that you have developed.
Yes, sir. And
Is
more,
that-
more than that, the informations or I have tried to read many books. Like, if you can suggest anything like, that also would be helpful.
No, that's fine. We'll come to that. So basically, investment for food-related technologies is
Yes,
what
sir,
you.
yes. Yeah.
Next one, please. Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Ewout de Wit. I'm the Consul General of the Netherlands for South India. So first of all, thank you for bringing up Hortus Malabaricus. You say it's Dutch, but we say it's the first Indo-Dutch scientific publication ever. So happy to visit at one point your
Big round
garden.
of applause for that, actually. Yeah.
My question, I'm based out of Bangalore, the startup capital of India. What is it that can make Kerala special for startups and innovation? That's what I would like to know from some of the people. What do you think? Where does Kerala's strength lie? Thanks.
Thank
Good
you, thank you.
afternoon.
So basically, I'll just reiterate the question so that I have it written down properly. So you're asking about what is it that Kerala can offer as opposed to a Bangalore? What are your specialities? What are your niche sectors? That is your question. Okay, thank you. Yeah, please go.
Good afternoon. I'm Pradeep Kumar M., freelance management systems consultant, technical auditor, and international trainer. My question is with respect to the startup movement. Of course, innovation is inbuilt. We find that while there are a number of startup companies which have taken over and are flourishing, but a small percentage, not very small, a particular percentage of the startups have vanished or disappeared. So wouldn't it be a good idea to conduct a root cause analysis, find out why they have not successfully gone ahead and why they had to close down? Because that sort of analysis will help newer entrepreneurs to come up. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, let me reiterate, sir, your question. Is that, can we do an analysis of why a startup did not become successful? What was the reason for a shutdown if that happened?
Why some of the startups?
Some of the startups, yeah, that's fine. So are we doing a postmortem analysis is what you're asking? If not, why? If so, then, how can it help? Good. Any other questions?
Hello, myself Jackson. I'm a startup in agriculture sector. I have a product that can produce, that the trees can produce more oxygen, and photosynthesis system can increase. And one more thing is septage treatment technology in a very...
Sir, this is not a pitching session. You need to ask your question. What is it that you would like? Yeah.
Where I get to implement that for any testing or any facility. So I contacted so many institutions, research institutions. Nobody took that decision. Where I get the...
So you're looking for testing / regulatory or compliance facilities, validation facilities,
Yes.
which will help you to validate your technology. That is what you're asking. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. I'll take that as a last question for now. I'll come back if there is more time, but we need to have some discussion on this.
Hi. So my question is, how is Kerala supporting the tech startups and products coming out from Kerala? And there are things like remote working and AI and everything, right? And can Kerala be a hub for that? And especially Workala, places is where Uber founder wrote the first line of code, right? So those things, how can we happen more of it? And events like these are very much needed for the branding purpose for the Kerala as well. And kudos to the event. And that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is a question that I also had, is that there is a new revolution, an AI revolution that is happening in every sphere of business, and how do we get to that? How do we make use of that? So I think enough questions for now. We'll get into the discussion. I know that these are little tough questions. We can say that, but we can discuss about what is happening. The first one was about electronics slash hardware startups, right? I mean, or electronics slash hardware focus of the startup ecosystem. No, I mean, we'll park that for now. So a few things that I want to say is, A, we have a facility called Maker Village. I don't know if Nambiar sir is here somewhere, but Mr. Madhavan Nambiar is here, the chairman of the Maker Village, which is the first hardware incubator out of the entire country of India. Okay? And there are 3 companies from Kerala which has actually got the PLI scheme. So there is a company called Netra Semi, which is an AI edge company. There is a company called Silicium Circuits, which has actually developed an indigenous chip. And then there is a company called Trois Infotech, which is based out of Trivandrum, which actually, I think, makes sensors or cameras or something like that. So there is a small hardware revolution that is happening in Kerala. Do we have a fab? Do we have investment into that sort of facilities? We don't have yet. I won't come to the question yet. But from a venture capital perspective, right? How is the startup scenario for the hardware startups? I'll ask Anish, I'll ask Babu also, but you being a serial entrepreneur. Babu, what is your take? Would a VC put money on a hardware startup? I'll tell you why startup scenario in India is staying away from hardware, please.
Yeah, hardware in general is tough, because it takes a lot of capital, right? So, for investors in general are looking for less risky, they want to manage the risk, right? So when you raise a lot of money, and the software businesses in general gives you that ability to scale quickly, and so you can manage the risk better. But having said that, there are so many great hardware companies, like Intel, NVIDIA, the largest company in the world, right? So what I'm saying is, it is once you make it, it is difficult, right? But once you get through it, right? Now, so you have to persist, and if there is a product market fit, and if you are able to make progress, and it's that billion-dollar outcome.
Yeah. So I think generally that is the case. No, I'll come to you. Let's give the panel a chance to explain.
Sir, humble request. Only
John,
one.
No, sir.
One suggestion, sir. One suggestion. Because
sir, I took your question.
People take it wrong. The hardware which I am talking is the basic tool for this AI, robotics, digital economy, anything. That is the hardware. Disruptive hardware, which the monopoly lies with Samsung, iPhone, Israel. There, I am sitting with those people. That's why I'm talking this language. So that India has a huge opportunity. We have the intellectual human capital. You are talking of conventional hardware, sir. Populated hardware.
No, actually there is a Center for Material Sciences. There is an Indian Institute of
Material Science.
Yeah. Graphene, there is a Center for Material Sciences in Tricur. There is an Indian Institute of Graphene that
all
is
theory, sir.
established.
Productivity, I'm telling.
2D materials are being researched on. Sir, India, ever since our fab in Rajasthan got spoiled in the 1970s because of the quota scheme, China has taken over and India has lost that game. Now India is trying to catch up. And everybody is trying to catch up. There are fabs being set up, and slowly it'll happen. It'll happen. Anish, I know that you had John, do you know, how is the semiconductor / hardware scenario in Australia? I mean, you are a developed economy. I mean, how have you seen a lot of hardware manufacturing or innovations coming out of the country?
I think probably it's fair to say that over the last 20 or 30 years or so, Australia has certainly moved towards becoming a more services-based economy and also exporter of raw goods, and a lot of the manufacturing, etc., has gone to other places, including India for that matter. So something which the government has put in place is actually just, and I think it's probably a realisation because of all of the global shipping restrictions, etc., during COVID, was this thing called a future made in Australia. So basically not just organising to increase the processing offshore, but also making sure that there's onshore capability for very critical and enabling things, such as semiconductors and that sort of thing. So it's something which our government is very invested in. And I guess in a similar way, it's like Make in India. It's actually trying to create those sovereign capabilities to actually develop those things as well. Might I just also add that, I'm fairly sure that if I did a poll of the people in this room here, the majority of people would be using Wi-Fi at some point or another over the course of the next 24 hours. That's actually an Australian innovation. Wi-Fi. Was created by our Commonwealth Scientific Research Organisation. And so the idea behind that, was created in Australia. The hardware is actually made everywhere in terms of enabling Wi-Fi. So quite often, yes, there is the need for hardware factories everywhere, but quite often this stuff, startups and innovation, it's actually the ideas up here which are actually possibly most important sometimes.
All right, thank you. I think, we'll park that discussion. We'll get into the next one. Anish, I know that you have got a taste for D2C and food tech and all that stuff. So there was a specific question about how do you get investment for food technologies? Is it easy? Do you know anybody? I mean, I'm sure that you go through that ecosystem quite a lot. How does the food ecosystem in India look like? If I have a good product, will I be able to get funding?
So more than the food tech, I would say there is a good D2C ecosystem that last 3-4 years.
And let me ask you, how many of you know what D2C is? Okay, you might want to explain what D2C is.
So basically, D2C is brands which directly create a product and sell to the customers either through their own website or an Amazon distribution. It could be even a pickle being made at home, but you standardize and then you scale it up, or it could be like a home-based shampoo or a hair oil. And why I believe strongly in D2C is because in Kerala, in India, we have a lot of homepreneurs, mostly women who actually are experts in building, in making this, either clothing lines or beauty products, etc. And there is a good ecosystem to support it. So till around 3 years back, to invest specifically in D2C, there was a set of VC funds which is being set up, which doesn't operate like a typical VC way. So one is Menza Brands, and the other thing was the Thrasio model, wherein they would acquire your D2C company and then they would actually take it and own it, kind of a thing. Also, there are a lot of, you might have heard about a lot of this beauty and style care products wherein a lot of VCs have pumped in money. There is a lot of acquisitions that has actually happened. Very recently, Minimalist, which is again a beauty brand which got acquired by Hindustan Unilever for 2,000 crores. Now, I think the specific question from the fellow entrepreneur was, how do I reach out to these guys? How do I become, how do I actually get funding base? Whom do I reach out when I'm in a particular small town this thing, right? My answer is that if you are the most good-looking guy or girl in the class, then you don't need to be on the dating app. The people will actually come after you, right? So this is not only for D2C, for any segment. A lot of entrepreneurs ask, like, how do you raise money? Anish, how did you actually raise this thing? So can you introduce to some investor? I personally feel that introduction probably may work only on 5% or 10% cases. You should create your own story, your own evangelism story that investors should read about you or come to know about you and then reach out to you. There are, enough D2C brands getting funded every month, but are you are organically being reached out to your prospective investors? Getting the list of investors, etc., is something which you can always get it from the internet. But then the effort that is actually required, the storytelling, like the way you are trying to acquire your customers, again, investors also another set or segment where you need to actually figure out ways to reach out. There are ways and mechanisms, obviously not in a panel that we're in, but there are investors and there are ways to actually reach out to that.
So I would also say that there is quite a lot of funds that are, you want to say something? Or?
Talking direct to consumer, there's a Keralite company, Fresh to Home. Yes. You know what they sell, right? Yeah. Fish. And growing phenomenally. right? So, and venture funded, right? So, again, if they've created a phenomenal story, they deliver a service, that they guarantee, right? That is fresh, right? And they are chased by investors.
Right.
Can maybe add a point. I want to fully agree with Anish with my experience also on raising money. You have to get the money to come to you. So that is the most important part. If you are begging for money, it's very difficult to get the money. So the story that you make, the solution that you are able to project, and give the FOMO effect, the fear of missing out effect to the VCs. Because at the end of the day, they are also scared. They don't want to miss the really good ones. So how do you get to project your story as a good one, which they are at risk of missing out? If you do that, there's a very good chance. But the basics have to be filled out, that your company has to be viable, the story has to be sound good and be true to some extent and all that. In the genomics journey, for the 4 companies, I raised over $150 million from various institutional investors, HNIs, VC companies, and even from private equity. So, it is a very good learning experience for me.
Anup, can I just add 10 seconds?
Absolutely.
So at least some learning, so probably which I can share, it may add value, right? So while building Open or all of my startups, whether successful or not, one thing which I always focus is to get the story out through the media, because journalists likes writing stories about this. The first thing is like to build relationship with the journalists. The first major funding I mentioned, like the Kerala Startup Mission, was instrumental in the first institutional investment round which we got it. Now the story behind that was when I raised the first angel fund from a set of angel investors who were my previous bosses working in my previous company. We created a press release, or the journalist in Economic Times wrote an article about it. After some months, one of the largest industrial groups in Japan, they happened to read about this story and they started approaching venture capitalists in India. Can we get connected to Open? This is actually the 7th largest business group in Japan called the Recruit Group. And they actually led that round basically. So a small PR article led to somebody reading about it. So that's where evangelism becomes just, so rather than talking high level, I just thought maybe sharing a real story may add.
So thanks to Roshan, Sam was just telling me that, Roshan, are you here? Roshan from Madhubhumi? Okay, he stepped out. He's one of the persons who have done a consistent job
Encouraging Kerala
startups. Now, Suja, I'll come to you with 2 questions, right? One, this D2C ecosystem, has it led on a women-empowered entrepreneurship, right? Because the numbers that we are very shy about is the number of women-led startups that we have. Out of the 6,200 or 300 startups that we have, we only have, I think, 400 startups that is majority owned by women. How do we, empower these D2C startups, or any, for that matter, tech startups? What is it that we can do to empower women to get into the startup ecosystem and participate more actively in Kerala?
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked, because in Kerala and even nationally, I think the numbers are still around below 20, right? Maybe around 16 to 18%. One of the things I have always seen is it's not because there is a dearth of talent or there is a dearth of creative women. It is just that they are not getting probably the opportunities. So, KSUM has been actively, promoting, and, entrepreneurs like yourself, Nimisha, these are good success stories, right? Just like you sell your product, I think it's also important to talk about the opportunities, market about the possibilities, and what support a government or, institutions like yours provide for women entrepreneurs. The second bit is you have to also look at the social and cultural fabric of where we are from, right? In a lot of cases, whether it is entrepreneurial or whether, I have several, and we are like 36% of employees at Safin are women, and we have a big targets to even bring in more talented women, including women. Perhaps I've seen, women who have taken a break because of various, maternity or extended maternity, or taking care of their family members, come back and really rise up their career as well, right? So those kind of opportunities, I think, whether it's organizations or the government, have to provide such platforms. And from the social aspect, I think there is still, when it comes to women, there are certain perceptions and stereotypical, that conditioning, right? Which makes it even more difficult for women to come out. But what I see is there is a rise, as you were saying, Anish, in entrepreneurial, and women coming out as entrepreneurial through these kind of domestic, what we call domestic like food or fashion, and really utilizing the potential of social media. Like for instance, the last time I walked into a store and bought something, I don't know when it was, because I usually shop online, and I find that on Instagram there are so many different brands, people who are coming up with such creative ideas, and even from Kerala, I don't know, they may not be registered with but they are still active. So we need to provide opportunities, and we also need to condition the others in the family that, running a startup or an entrepreneurial venture is not easy.
Thank you, Suja. I now want to pick your brain a little bit on the question that the Consul General asked, which is a very, very, very interesting question. What is it that Kerala can offer as a speciality, Nimisha? What is our specialty? I'll come to each of you with this question, because that is very important. Why do Bangalore is a very vibrant ecosystem. Personally, my thought is that Bangalore is a very vibrant ecosystem because Bangalore is a very vibrant, IT or industrial ecosystem also. There is a Peenya, which is the industrial area. You have the Whitefields and the Hosurs and the Surjapurs, which is the IT corridors. And it was a natural offshoot of what was already there. But I think we are in our infancy stages. And how do we, what are the specialty sectors that we could think about? What do you think, Nimisha?
As far as our industry is concerned, it is a fintech industry. And when we started the company, and when I was telling about my company somewhere else, in the other states of the country, everybody had a doubt. Okay, fintech and Kerala doesn't match. Because when we say the word fintech, always people have a thought that it should be either in Mumbai or in Bangalore. Because obviously that is the fintech hubs. But in Kerala, do you think that a fintech business can be successful is the question which I always get. And that is why we wanted to prove that a fintech can be more successful in Kerala.
But I want to cut you out there. Yeah. We are not asking whether fintech can succeed.
No.
Is fintech sector that you think Kerala can, excel in?
Yes. Kerala people always have an open mind to experiment things. That is the best quality which I see in the people in Kerala. Whenever we come up with a new innovation or a new product, and when we say about this to the people, they are ready to do the experiment. And they are ready to give us their feedbacks. And that is how usually startups grow, from the feedbacks. It can be a criticism, like more of they will tell what are your flaws first, and then we will more look into it. And again, we have a very inclusive ecosystem because...
So fintech, you are sticking with fintech. Okay, you believe that fintech Kerala can do very well.
Yes.
To answer you, just to add to that, there is a city named Trichur, which is right next to Cochin, where probably the non-banking financial institutions or the microfinancing industry has flourished. So I personally believe that if you were to go with fintech, we then need to have the Muthoot and the Manappuram and all the Kurichitty funds of Trichur, help us do some solutions. So there is an opportunity for fintech. I always thought that it is in the microfinancing sector. But Babu, what are your thoughts?
I think, we are, when you think about Kerala, right, beauty, right, natural beauty, we want to maintain that. So that means that you don't want to go into industries that are polluting, right? So that is clear. Now, within that, we are great at healthcare, right? Healthcare is one of the largest industries out there. There is so much you can do. Even financial services, I would say, right? Now, that is a large part of the economy, right? So, and you don't need a lot of hardware or other dependencies. And it's purely things, that you can read and learn, right? We are good at that. So then I'll come to things like space technology. It's sad that we are not far enough when so much capability is here, right here in the state, right, with BSSC here, right, and space technology is booming right now, right, but we don't have a strong play today. So there are possibilities, right, and then I would say nothing prevents us from taking a leadership role in AI, right, because again, we are great at math.
So financial services, healthcare, space technologies, and you're saying that the AI layer, we have a great opportunity that we can move forward with. Sam, I pretty much know your answer, but please, what is our strength, specialty sector?
I mean, Kerala is one of the most biodiverse places in the world. So there is no doubt to the value of the genetic data that Kerala has. I already spoke about the Kerala Genome Data Center. But still, though we have the initiatives like that, we still don't have the, maybe what the right word, maybe the guts or of the risk. Because just being first or just having some capabilities doesn't cut it in this world. I mean, even we talk about IT and Bangalore, but the first IT techno park in India came up in Kerala. But we had many other constraints and other problems and earlier bad or doubtful decisions made about not having enough engineering colleges here and all that made scalability in Kerala such a problem. So Kerala missed the boat in the last 20 years, and in the last maybe 10 years you're making up, but the previous 20 years we lost out. So we have a very good or very sad case that we might miss out on the genomic opportunity too, unless the government moves fast, liberally allows genome sequencing of humans and storage of human data. And the problem here is partly the media too. I mean, the hype of some small mistakes earlier, like the sprinkler case and things like that, has made the environment a little toxic, that as soon as you talk about data and sharing data, everybody gets very worried. But that is so unfortunate, because there are very clear standards for creating data and storing data and sharing data across the world. So it's nothing new. We have to sort of get out from our smaller myopic mindset and think about the larger possibilities that is happening across the world and how do we fit in. So Kerala has the most valuable thing, like the way the Gulf countries had oil, we have the genomic data. So we have to make sure that that is extracted properly and provided out to the world. And that adding to what Babu said, and that will ride very well on the healthcare system that we have. Kerala has one of the best primary healthcare systems in the world, right? And we have many other beautiful systems like, things Kudumbashree. I mean, the Kudumbashree system that Kerala has, it should actually get a Nobel Prize. I mean, those are the foundational systems that Kerala has been able to build, a democratic, socialist, inclusive system that we have been able to build. But at the same time, some of the opportunities we have missed out. So I think we are very close to missing out the genomics opportunity.
And one of the opportunities that we missed out was electronics, because Kerala started the first electronics company and... Yes. Sure. Absolutely. What's your outside view? What do you think Kerala is good at?
I'm going to probably answer this just slightly differently, in that how would I sell Kerala to Australian exporters and also those who are looking to set up businesses here? And there's probably three things. First of all, the diaspora in Australia. Malayali is actually one of the fastest growing languages in Australia. And Australia actually has 1 million strong people of Indian origin, but the fastest growing number of that is actually Malayali, which actually is a huge market in our terms. 1 million is not a very big number here, I know, but 1 million is huge to us. It's about 4%. Yeah. So that's the first one. The second one is the literacy rate here. It's about 96%. It's incredibly strong. And so that for us, I think, is a very attractive thing. And I think the third one is just simply the ease and the connectivity to many other places, including to the Middle East. Can I just reflect also, I want to also associate myself with the comments about the growth and the rise of females in the workplace, and including on this panel. The young lady who's been supporting me over the last day or so here in Kochi, she has a degree in physics and computing and is studying her MBA. And also, I read just earlier on that there are the number of females at high school outnumber males very strongly. And so you can actually see there's that demographic dividend. So I'm going to give you 4. There's that demographic dividend that is coming through as well of a very highly educated group of people, incredibly literate, and also from a gender diversity point of view as well. And I think that really should be celebrated.
These are all selling points. Thank you. And we are trying very hard to sell these points to the rest of the world. But Ardra here tells me that I've got only 5 minutes. Probably I'll take 5 more. But I really, really want to touch upon this last topic. There are 2 questions that I'm going to leave out right now. One is about the testing and validation facilities, which I can talk about a little later, offline, and about the survey that we might want to conduct if startup becomes not successful, or a part of startup that doesn't become successful, then what do we do about it? That is a question that I would take offline. But I really want to touch upon Felix's question about there is a disruption that is happening right now, right? AI, we all thought that was going to be dominated by companies in America. Suddenly there is a DeepSeek that has come in and open sourced and democratized, and now we have like new models coming up every single day. And we know for a fact that there is a window of opportunity of agentic AI that exists probably for the next 2 years or so. How do, and this is the last question to each one of you, so take a minute and answer this. How do we make use of that opportunity? What should we do?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned earlier, like, every SaaS model is getting disrupted. Every accounting software, there is an equivalent of a vertical AI-based agentic solution, which can actually...
Anish, let me ask you this question. So I have a SaaS application. Wouldn't, as a company, now I would do it, right? I would transform myself into an AI app. So a Zoho is not going to come to Anup for doing that, right? So the companies itself will transform into AI. So where is the opportunity?
So the opportunity is that probably Zoho is one of the tools that you use. You use a Gmail, you use another software for advertising. Now this particular vertical AI basically tool could be the one which could actually look for a bill in your Gmail, update that on Zoho,
so
go to the
like
GST.
Small plugins that you can develop.
It's not actually plugins. Some of them are billion-dollar companies like Glean, etc. So there are newer companies which will integrate and automate repetitive tasks and do agentic actions for any industry, basically. It can be for
Thank
healthcare.
you. Adra is giving me this harsh look, so I'll just quickly pass through. Suja.
One of the things we talked about was the demographic dividend and the talent pool, right? Very critical in AI is the speed at which you're going to upskill yourself, because I believe everyone, irrespective of whether you're in a company, startup, or in school, you need to start using it, understanding it more, and bringing it back into your curriculum. Because at the end of the day, the speed at which companies, like even ours or any other company, whether it's a startup or not, is absorbing it and embedding it, and it's in your day-to-day life.
Thank you, Suja. Point taken. I think we need to have an AI literacy campaign that goes across multiple sectors of the society. Nimisha?
I think the use of AI in data will do wonders in future. So data is the backup of every business, and that is where we will have to smartly use AI to boost our business.
I think that is the most valid point. I don't think India is storing enough data to make custom models which will fit to the demographics of India. So we need to now use the AI mechanisms that are there to create data centers on which we'll be able to create custom models. And I personally believe that that's going to be a huge opportunity. John, again, from a...
Globally, we need to be incredibly agile from a governance and policy perspective to make sure that there are appropriate laneways in place to enable AI to flourish, to become better, and for people to become literate in it, etc. But equally making sure that it is not used for purposes for which it should not. I guess with that great power becomes great responsibility, and actually making sure that governments have that framework
brilliant
in
point.
place.
While the innovators or the technologists start, throwing out solutions, On the other side, parallelly, policymakers need to start thinking about how do you regulate AI and make sure that there is ethical usage of AI and things like that. And that will only create an ecosystem for the AI to flourish. Bob?
Can I just a clarification? I'm not talking about regulation for regulation's sake. It's actually to make sure that things are in place to make sure that there isn't a breakdown in society.
Absolutely.
That type.
Absolutely. Babu?
So when you talk about AI agents, right now, it's a combination of, deep vertical knowledge, right? Now, see, every human is going to be a superhero, right? Because underlying AI capability is going to make you become superheroes. To make that happen and to play in that game, what you really need is go deep. There is quite a bit of craftsmanship that goes into building great products, right? You don't need to you don't need foundational models, that is available as utility, but you need to take advantage of building capability on top of it, and that we have the ability to do that. We just need to find those opportunities and go and do it.
I just the same things, data and enabling AI enablement.
I always thought Sam would say, biology and AI is going to come together and create superhumans, because that is going to be one synergy that is going to happen. I mean, we have got a computational synthetic biology center that is getting set up in Cochin University of Science and Technology in association with Synthite. We were just saying that the most amount of funding is coming into anti-aging right now. Most of the billionaires are writing a check so that they could stay young and make use of their money, right? So I think it is interesting times. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being in this panel and sharing these great insights. I hope the panel was of a little use, at least to everybody who was sitting and listening to us. Thank you very much.
On that note, I'd also like to request Sri Anup Ambika to present a token of our appreciation to all the panelists and our keynote speaker on stage, starting with Sri Anish Achyutan, co-founder and CEO of Open Financial Technologies, who delivered the keynote address in this session about nurturing the future of startups and innovation. Can we have the... Yes, Sri Anup Ambika will present the memento. That's Anish Achyutan. Ms. Suja Chandi, Chief Sustainability Officer of Zafin Global and Managing Director of Zafin India. Ms. Nimisha J. Vadakan, Managing Director of Radiant Ace Money. Mr. John Southwell, Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner from Australia. Mr. Babu Shivadasan, Chief Executive Officer, Jiffy.ai. And Sri Sam Santosh, Managing Trustee of Sai Genome Research Foundation. And to present a token of our appreciation to Sri Anup Ambika, I'd like to bring on stage Ms. Ambali CN, Assistant General Manager with KSIDC. Thank you, sir, for shuffling the format around a bit and accommodating the maximum number of questions. That really benefited the session. And may I also request all of you to step up for a group photograph. Ambali ma'am, please stay. All of you, please step up for a group photograph. Thank you. I know it's the post-lunch session, but can we have some more applause for them? Such diverse perspectives on the future of startups and innovation in our state. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Can we have the stage quickly reset for the next session, please? We need 5 chairs on stage. Without any further delay, we are jumping right into the next panel discussion, and this is about catalyzing growth, port-led development as a bridge to global trade. Can we have, yes, Some volunteers, please. We know that ports are vital gateways for global trade, connecting local economies to international markets and driving economic growth. So port-led development fosters regional and global trade, enhancing logistics and creating economic opportunities. The stage is now getting set for our next panel discussion. Meanwhile, I also have a lost and found announcement. Somebody's laptop bag is missing from this space. He had kept the bag near the partition area during the inaugural ceremony. So if anybody finds a black Mokobara laptop bag, which also has a MacBook inside, please do hand it over to somebody backstage. It's a black Mokobara laptop bag. Thank you. We request everyone to settle down in your seats. We do understand the enthusiasm to talk to our panelists and speakers. Coming on stage first, the moderator for this session, Dr. Divya S. Iyer, IAS. She's the Managing Director of Vizhinjam Port and also the Director of Cultural Affairs Department. Hearty welcome on stage, ma'am. She's being joined by the keynote speaker today, Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indukant Modi. He's the Deputy Minister of Trade and Commerce, Government of Zimbabwe. Hearty welcome on stage, sir. He's an accomplished entrepreneur and the Member of Parliament for Bulawayo South, a constituency in Zimbabwe. Welcome, sir. Being joined by Mr. Pradeep Jayaraman, Chief Executive Officer of Adani Vizhinjam Port Private Limited. He has extensive leadership experience in digital transformation, operations, and analytics across various industries. And Mr. Praveen Thomas Joseph, Chief Executive Officer of DP World Ports and Terminals, Cochin. He's worked in organizations like Aspinwall and Company Limited before. 20 years of diverse experience in logistics with focus on third-party logistics, port and terminal management, etc. And finally, completing the panel on stage, Captain Amresh Jha. He's the founding director of Kanu Shipping India. He's a distinguished maritime professional with over 25 years of experience in shipping management. He's also previously served as the nautical consultant and surveyor in charge with the Mercantile Marine Department of Government of India. Hearty welcome, sir. We will start this session with the keynote address by the Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indukant Modi ji, Deputy Minister of Trade and Commerce, Government of Zimbabwe. Hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Her Excellency Zimbabwean Ambassador to India, Mrs. Stella Como, the Principal Secretary, Department of Industry, Government of Kerala, Honorable Mr. Mohammed Hashish, IAS, Divya S. Iyer, IAS, Managing Director with Janan Port, Mr. C. Kumar, Managing Director of Caltron, the Trade Commissioner Zimbabwe, Honorable Beju Kumar, distinguished government official, esteemed representatives from various enterprises, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me pleasure to be addressing you today at the special occasion Invest Kerala Global Summit 2025. Firstly, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me and my team to this important event. Zimbabwe and India have a long history, close and cordial relationship. And today, through the Invest Kerala Global Summit 2025, we have a great opportunity to enhance that relationship. Through improved trade and investment in our two countries, India export to Zimbabwe was US 160.57 million, while Zimbabwe export to India was 37.3 million during 2023, according to United Nations Complete Database on International Trade. The current figures are not good enough, but the trading lines that exist can be stepping stone for India and specifically for Kerala state manufacturers to supply more goods to Zimbabwe market and the whole continent of Africa through the African Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, the AFCFTA is a great opportunity for Kerala manufacturers to set up a manufacturing plant in Zimbabwe, as the country is strategically located as a distribution hub, especially in southern region of Africa. Zimbabwe should soon start trading under the second phase of the guided trade initiative, which is meant to test the resilience of member state trade system. The AFCFTA, bringing together all 54 member states of the African Union, covering a market of more than 1.3 billion people and a combined gross domestic product of more than US 3.4 trillion. It is interesting to note that its population is expected to grow to 2.5 billion, and its combined GDP will more than double by 2050. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been briefed on the strength of Kerala state in the manufacturing of high-end technology, assembly, and systems integration. Zimbabwe is still lagging behind in those areas, which offers great opportunity for companies in those sectors to set up a factory in Zimbabwe which manufactures such key products. The government of Zimbabwe is ready to engage with the potential investor and offer initiative which will guarantee return on your investment. Zimbabwe has been carrying out case of doing business, ease of doing business, reform through the Zimbabwean Open for Business mantra pushed by our President of the Republic, Dr. Edi Managagwa, with a vision of upper middle income society by 2030. The reforms include the established one-stop investment service center that has greatly streamlined the investment licensing process and consolidated the requestee clearance for setting up shop under one roof. One thing I want to tell you, Zimbabwe is border 4 countries. And currently our president is the chairman for SADC. That includes 16 regional countries. So we have a bilateral agreement between those SADC countries that you can import and export your goods or service without any duty, or very minimum duty if it's any. So that is the good thing for Zimbabwe. If you put up a factory, say pharmaceutical factory in Zimbabwe, you cover another 4 countries within a very small distance. Like say, if you put up your factory in Victoria Falls, that gives you another 4 countries within 100 kilometers. We share borders. So within 100 kilometers, Victoria Falls and Zambia is not even kilometer, it's just a bridge that you cross, you go into Zambia from Zimbabwe. So that kind of benefit that you get. And Victoria Falls is strategically there that you can do your production or manufacturing, whatever you want to do that. And all your customers, you can serve them within a day from your factory. So that's a good advantage. And it's Victoria Falls is a special economic zone. So you have a lot of benefits that from the government that we offer to the investors, such as duty-free your equipment, your raw material, things like that. And plus you have a tax benefit also. It depends on your investment. You get tax holiday for certain years. 1 to 5 years we give on that part also. So that's some of the benefit that you get from the government. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to underscore the vital role that India plays in revitalizing and unlocking the economic and industrial potential of Zimbabwe and in the entire African continent. In our quest to revitalize our manufacturing sector, we are strongly urging you all to partner us in this exciting journey to prosperity. Vast investment opportunities lie in the establishment of industrial parks, value additional of agriculture and mineral products, as well as manufacturing of consumer goods, chemicals, metals, and pharmaceuticals, just to mention a few. Zimbabwe manufactures less than 10% of the pharmaceutical products, hence there is an opportunity in this area. We have the largest deposit of lithium in Africa, and almost all of it is exported as a raw, which again presents a great opportunity in lithium batteries, electrical vehicle, and small electronic gadgets manufacturing. There is no single local producer of solar panel at only 33% of households connected to grid electricity, and I know India is one of the leading producers of the solar energy products. So here is the opportunity for the Indian companies. The solar panels and solar equipment, whatever regarding you use in the solar power generation, our government has decided to allow duty-free. So you can export to Zimbabwe, or you can bring the plant, or we can assemble there in Zimbabwe. All your equipment, your raw material, everything will be duty-free. And again, that you got a big customer base that you can supply in region. So that is a very good business at the moment, is booming. And I would like to take opportunity, our Indian fellows, that they can come and do. It's a very good opportunity for us. Zimbabwe poses high growth potential across various sectors, particularly for the investor willing to engage with long-term opportunities in its key industries. The prospect of establishing a laptop manufacturing industry in Zimbabwe and the opening of the Carlton Knowledge Center in Zimbabwe, focusing on IT, software and programming education, both present significant potential for economic growth, technological advancement, and employment creation. The long-term plan of developing a local supply chain of some of the laptop components would significantly reduce the production costs, allow quicker time to market, diversify the economy, and create more potential for export. All these electronics items mostly comes to Zimbabwe from China. So it's a big potential for Indian market also there, that they can come in, because people like the Indian products. They feel that Indian products are better than Chinese one. So I think that is also, there's one of the plus point that you can come in. Ladies and gentlemen, however, the full potential of our economy can only be realized when we can timely export and import raw materials, intermediate goods, or finished consumer goods at competitive prices. This is mostly by developing the necessary infrastructure, which includes ports. Ports have long been the lifeblood of trade, connecting the market, culture, and economics. As vital gateway between land and sea, they are not only hubs for the movement of goods, but also for the flow of ideas, innovation, and opportunities. The Open Vizianam International Seaport in Kerala. I believe it's the biggest in Kerala, the first automated port in India which locates close to shipping routes between Europe, the Persian Gulf, and Far East. The port is equipped with modern infrastructure and latest technology. The natural depth of the port is 24 meters, so big cargo ships can dock. Especially through the length of port, lead development holds the promise of unlocking the potential of economic growth, cross-border collaboration, and the expression of the global trade. Although Zimbabwe is a landlocked country, the government is fully aware of this significance of this port, hence the establishment of dry port and continuous development of trade corridor, notably the north-south corridor from South Africa, the Beira corridor, the Dar es Salaam corridor, and the Walvis Bay corridor, which provides access to the transatlantic market. As I conclude, it is with a great pleasure that I extend a warm invitation to you all to join us at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF 2025, scheduled to take place from 21st to 26 April 2025 in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, second city. The ZITF stands as one of the largest and most prestigious trade showcase in Africa, attracting businesses, investors, and policymakers from across the globe. The 2025 edition promised to be even more significant as we continue to create new pathway for growth, collaboration, and innovation across multiple sectors, including agriculture, mining, manufacturing, technology, and infrastructures. Allow me to take this opportunity to also inform you that Zimbabwe assumed the chair of the Southern African Development Community, SADC, a regional economic grouping comprising of 16 African countries. Therefore, we will use this opportunity to deepen the cooperation between India and the SADC region. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with these few words, I wish you fruitful deliberation for the entire Invest Kerala Global Summit. I thank you. Siyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable Rajesh Kumar Indrakant Modi ji, for those welcoming words opening doors of collaboration between Zimbabwe and Kerala. And with that, I hand it over to our moderator, Dr. Divya S. Iyer, who will steer the conversation from here.
Thank you. I think beyond India-Zimbabwe relationship in cricket, it is a welcome change that all of us get to hear from the man himself regarding bilateral relationship between the two countries, from the industrial aspect of it and the prospects of it that we are about to see in the future as well. It is indeed a joyous occasion today to meet and greet all of you here at Invest Kerala 2025. And we at the Vizhinjam International Seaport heartily welcome each one of you to Vizhinjam and to Kerala through Vizhinjam. So, being the gateway to Kerala, being the gateway to India, being the gateway to the subcontinent, and being the window to the world, we do take pride in being part of Invest Kerala 2025. Our entire team is out here. So on behalf of each one of us, I
extend a hearty welcome from the Government of Kerala to all of you present here. We have a very expert team of panelists here, and we are here to talk about catalyzing growth, port-led development as a bridge to global trade. And the point where I want to start is probably from the very beginning. As we all know, there used to be an era where any kind of voyage into the seas was always considered the biggest adventure of times. Right from discovery of continents and countries, to formation of cultures, to development of civilizations, to even medical discoveries, voyages have always played a role. Albeit it always used to be a fearful one. Once one ventures into the sea, one never knew what was the fate. I remember being a child, probably the first time I heard the word port was probably when I was 5 years or 6 years old, when I was taught the poem, "O Captain, My Captain." I'm certain, any poetry lovers amongst you would definitely remember that, the famous poem by Walt Whitman, wherein it starts off as, "O Captain, my Captain." It talks about how the port is near, the bells I hear, all people are exulting. The joy of having a port near is something that all of us sitting here as panelists are experiencing right now. But in the poem, it was fear, as I mentioned. It was fear, it was fateful, it was adventurous. But today, I would say it is very far away from all of that. We have come a long way in sea trade. As per the latest reports of the UN, I think around 80% of international trade on goods are via waters, or maritime trade constitutes 80% of international trade in goods, which has been a long way to development. I think I would like to start with Praveen. Tell us about how exciting it has been. Let's start off with the good things first. So, the fear to fab journey of shipping and trade. Tell us how exciting has it been to have been working in this industry and, steering forward global trade as part of this industry.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And on behalf of DP World, very privileged to be here and congratulate the organizers for having a session on logistics and port-led development. Usually we find it our industry finds it very difficult to get a chair in these kind of events. So it's great to have that. Yeah, the journey, thanks for going back so many years. What comes to my mind is a little bit about Kerala's history and Cochin. This is where I'm based. I'll talk a little bit about Cochin as well.
Yes, yes.
Long maritime history. We've had this coast of Kerala has had trade relations going back millennia, more than 2,000 years. Muziris used to be the port in the BC era, and then later we had Calicut, and then we had Cochin. I personally, my first job was in Cochin Port, where I was running around doing a bit of operations for the ships which were coming there. That was when the Cochin Port was in Wellington Island. And since then, that was sometime in 1992. A lot of things have changed globally. Although shipping as such is still a very traditional industry.
Yes.
It's steeped in tradition, and change happens very, very slowly, including the introduction of technology, which everybody is the buzzword now, but in shipping and the maritime industry, it comes very, very slowly for various reasons. And so from Wellington Island, We moved to Vallarpadam, that was in 2011, and that was a time when India was bringing in private operators into the port industry. And that heralded, I think, a new era in terms of bringing in the latest technology, the latest processes, and efficiency and things like that. And we've had a good journey in Cochin from 2005 on the other side of the channel, and from 2011 on this side of the channel. It's been a very exciting journey. We're proud to have played a part for the economy of not just Kerala, but for the south of India. And very happy to have a neighbor, my friend Pradeep Sport, and yourself in Virinjam, and I'm sure we will, complement each other. Maybe we'll talk about that later. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Praveen. As